Yo, JD here to all of us, and as you can see, we're AOR Season 10 Round 5, and this is Spain here today. And apologies for my voice, if it sounds quite different. I'm actually quite ill at the moment. I believe we've actually got a virus or something, so I'm not in the best condition at the moment. This is the only time I could really record this, but this is qualifying. As you can see, it's in the wet. We're going through the last sector now of my actual fastest lap, aka the corner cutting sector. So you'll be able to see here, it's nice and clean through here. And just speaking about the track as usual, I'm a fan of this track. I've always done pretty well. I've had reasonable pace. I'm on every F1 game around here. So I'm hoping to bounce back, because after the first 4 races of mine winning, I personally feel I've been quite unlucky in quite a few of the races, but obviously him driving very well as well. I really need to start making the comeback, and at this track last season, in Season 9, I actually won the first 4 races myself, and then didn't win this race. So this race is normally sometimes a little bit of a turning point at times, so I'm hoping it swings in my favour this time. And you can see Martin's on pole position at the moment, and our lap was pretty good, but the last sector is actually where we lost pretty much all the time, because I stayed in rich when I should have stayed in lean, so I lost all the time there. And you can see I've actually retired from the race, and the reason why I've done that is because the race is 69% wet. So I actually used 2 inters in that run. So if I actually used another set of inters and actually rained for half the race, then I would be using an old set of wets during the race. And that's something you definitely do not want to be doing around here. So we're actually going to start in 4th place. My championship rival Martin on pole position. But in practice, I can say before this, in practice I felt so confident in my pace. My pace felt unreal really in practice, and I'm hoping I can show it here today, because at Bahrain you saw glimpses of it, but you can see here as the lights go out now, we need to get a really good start here, because in practice I felt if I qualified on the front row, or even if I got pole, then I felt I could really just control the race, because really just making a few bit of differences in my setup, and also mainly my driving style as well, how I actually approach the race. I've made quite a few changes really in how I actually think, or how I'm driving throughout the race, but also definitely, as I said, on the setup as well, which will definitely tend to help me, because normally I tend to use a bit more of an oversteer kind of setup. This time I used quite a bit of a more stable ones that may not be as quick really on one lap pace or anything, but throughout the race it should be very comfortable. As Yee actually makes a mistake, so we've gone 4th to 2nd by the 2nd lap, with Martin in the lead now. And at this point I felt it was game on. I really wanted to win this race. I was so hungry to win this race, and I hopefully you'll be able to see throughout the race, through my driving, how determined I was actually to win this race, because I need to win this race. I need to really make an impact. I really need to really shut Martin down, to be honest, and that was the game plan before this race. As we go into the lead now, so on lap 5 from 4th place of Martin being on pole, we're actually winning the race. So just confirming our pace at the moment. You can see the top 3 have pulled away from the guys behind, and you can see we're in -1 lap of fuel. So normally, as I said, the change my driver style, normally I'd like to save fuel, but I just thought this time, use the fuel, make sure you get on the back of him, try and get that track position, which sometimes I just don't do, even if I'm leading or there's a little bit of a gap to lead it, but I could have caught him up. Sometimes I just saved the fuel to the end of the race, and I feel that's a bit of a mistake. So this time really just changing the way how I drive this time, and you can see it's working at the moment. That's something I don't usually do, but getting track position, I'm actually winning the race. So it's definitely something I may adopt in the future, obviously depending on tracks, and it can change. But coming into the pits now, go stay on the white line. So the pit stop police, you can get your microscopes out if you want to see that or not, but we're on the white line coming into pits using a maximum track, and we're winning the race at the moment. So it's going really good, 4th to 1st. And as I said, the game plan before this is to shut Martin down, really just to break his momentum, because I've said it so many times before, and I'm really a strong believer in it, that momentum is a huge thing. So we've got to knock his confidence really, to be honest. We've really just got to send a message in some way that you're not the only person who's winning races at the moment. He knows what I felt. I believe in myself, that I know I could win the races that I haven't before in this season. I felt Australia could have, and China definitely could have as well. And Bahrain, if I started near the front, with the pace we had, starting in 7th, and then you finished in 6 seconds behind, then I felt if we started along near Martin or at the front row, then definitely the pace was 100% there as well. So this race, I knew I had it as someone that's actually gone off there. So there's a little bit of an incident for Toro Rosso, which is lockdown, I believe. Him and Yi actually came together, actually. But I knew if I got within striking distance, then I felt I could control this race and actually pull away with my pace. But this is something you may or may not see for the rest of the video. I try not to spoil anything, but you can see here we've gone up to back of Martin. There's a little bit of contact there, so I just didn't really expect him to be that slow through the corner. So on the back of him now is getting held up by Hunter Stale, I believe. He hasn't pitted as we, again, a bit too eager at the moment, but trying to get a nice exit off here. Got the half the curves, going to rich mix, and we're in optimal fuel, so we've been saving a bit of fuel as well. So really trying to do a hack and a move here, trying to go through the middle, and we've been blocked off a little bit there, and it's okay, nothing happened. So if I would have spun, then that would have been a different story, but luckily we managed to stay on the track. And my mindset for this race now is that we do have a bit of a lead on the cars behind, so you can see that gap there. I was in no rush really to take the lead at this point until the opportunity is gone for me. So as we can see, we've left a little bit of gap on the inside, so we're going to go down into second place. So Yi is in front of us, but he's actually on option tyres. We're actually closing in on him as well. So at this point, I wasn't really too concerned about him, because I believe, well, I felt we'd catch him quite quickly, as you'll be able to see in the next few laps we do. Yeah, but coming into this point in this race, or this moment in the race, I really wasn't too concerned. I didn't really want to battle too much. As you can see, we're leaving him room on the inside. I was hoping he'd carry a bit more speed, but we decided just to maintain the lead again. But yeah, I didn't really want to battle too much, let the guys up behind us actually catch us up. I was just being quite cautious, just to really just save our tyres and just get into the rhythm of the race. But you can see the pace is definitely there, and I felt I had something definitely extra if I needed to in the pace. But you can see now we're making a bit of a gap on Martin, so confirming what we had in practice, the times I was doing, and just how I was managing my tyres as well. I felt if we broke the DRS, then I would be able to just, on raw speed, just pull away, because this setup is really built for the race. It's not really built for qualifying in mind at all. So you can see now Martin's going back of us again, because DRS is pretty powerful around here, and we've got quite a big lead to the cars behind. So we're not going to really challenge this. Go into stand, just let him go through. There's no point, because I don't really want to lose that much time, so I thought I'd just tuck him behind him. But it looks like Martin's got a little bit out of shape on the curb, so we're going to go back down the inside of him. He's going to leave the door open for us, and we're going to go down the inside of him, but he's actually going to hold it round the outside of us, and we've still got most of our curves remaining, so we're going to stay on the inside, leaving room on the outside. So we're going side by side for these corners, and at this point I was just having fun, because the gap behind, I wasn't really too concerned if we lost a bit of time, so I was just having a bit of fun. But equally at the same time, it's important to really just stand your ground. So going through this corner, we're going to go outbrake him and go around the outside. So even though it's a bit of fun, it is important. I've said it many times before about mind games, and just really just showing that you're not really going to give up a position that easily. It's something that is definitely quite advantageous to you, and you can see we're in the lead now, and we've got a bit of a gap, so we've actually broke out of his DRS. So in the past couple of laps, our pace, even though being on the same tyres as well, we have broken that DRS, and it's looking very good. And you can see rain is actually starting to fall on the track at the moment, which is something I'm not really too happy with. In changing conditions, I've always had not things go my way in terms of strategy calls, but you can see at the moment our pace, just how we're managing these tyres, is going very well. And we're actually going to go for another lap, because we still feel good to actually do another lap. So with us pulling away from Martin's actually decided to go for the undercut, just to try and avoid losing a bit of time. But you can see our tyres are red, but we're still managing pretty nicely. So we go through a chicane here. So let's see if we stay in the white line, hitting the white line there, so staying within the limits. And going into the pits now, just seeing what tyres he's on, just double checking that he is on the intermediate tyre, which I was guessing he was. But usually I don't really have too much luck in terms of guessing strategy when it changes the weather condition. But we'll go put on the intermediates and see how much of a time loss we've actually lost. You can see coming out of the pits now, we haven't actually lost that much time. So I think he was pretty much forced to pit, because he was starting to lose time on me in that last thing. So I kind of forced his hand to really pit, and that's exactly what I wanted. So now we're on the fresher, wet tyres, which is usually quite a big advantage, really, mainly at the end of a stint. not really too much in between, but at the end of a stint it definitely does help. And you can see we're just really confident, so we're actually going to stay on board for the next couple of laps because I feel this is quite a big part of the race, and this really just demonstrates really just my raw speed in the race pace, what I was talking about in practice. And you can see really been using second gear through here, just trying to maximise the track as much as possible, and we're going almost flat out for this corner as well, so you can see the traction and the confidence in the driving's there, and I believed I could catch him quite quickly. And you can see visibly we've actually caught him this lap as well. So you'll be able to see the gap. I think it's about 2 seconds or so at the moment. So you can see, not going rich because rich really isn't a benefit really. But as I said in qualifying, I actually stayed in rich in this last sector, which I felt cost me probably around half a second or something like that, which is what I ended up losing in that last sector to Martin. So we're going rich on the straights in the straight line. That's the only time we really want to use rich. So going across the line, you can see doesn't actually tell us the gap to Martin there. But we coming out of the pits, it looks like we've actually gained a fair amount actually on this lap. So just through the confidence, just nailing those white lines and really just pushing it quite hard now. And this is where we've got to show our speed. And as I said before the race, I was very, very confident that if I was in this position with clear air, I'm not having to battle people. That you will. So you can see we've actually gained 3 temps in him since the last sector of the last lap, and just checking the fuel was still not optimal. So using rich in the dry, because I knew it was going to rain later, that you don't really use rich that much in the wet. So even if you dropped into -1, that wouldn't have really been too much of an issue. So that's why I really just adopted that strategy, and it's working pretty well because in the wet going in rich just creates a lot more wheel spin, and it just doesn't create any more traction. So you can see we're actually going lean here despite being on quite fresh tyres. You can see we're getting another 2 temps in that middle sector. So again, the pace is just there this time, and I felt it was there throughout China and Bahrain as well, and even Australia. But I felt just due to the situation we were in on track and the battling stuff, we just didn't have really option. As Martin's actually made a mistake, so he's actually been caught on the curb, and that is really unfortunate for him because I know how that feels. It's happened to me before, but you've got to take what's given to you, and we are into the lead now. So now we have got a big gap behind us, and it's Martin. He's still in second. I don't know if he actually is still in second because he looks like he's lost a fair amount of time, but we'll be able to see once the timesheet's updated. It's actually Yi in second, so I believe Martin has actually pitted because I believe he actually went off again into the gravel as well. So you can see now our tyres are now finally starting to go. So we're going to stay in lean. We've got about a 5.6 second gap behind us, so a reasonable gap. And from here, it's really just trying to take it to the flag. We've got to make one more stop. So right now, I'm not going to really take any risks. I'm not going to really go on an extra lap if I felt I could do it because the undercut could be quite significant. So we're actually going to go in the pits, play it safe. I knew I'd be able to get to the end on these tyres. So intermediates again, it's not really going to go into wets, because normally you'd be aquaplaning quite a bit. So we're going to go into the pits, just checking what tyres everyone else is on, just in case someone has gone for a bold strategy like Martin. But we're going to go in intermediates, and this should be good to the end of the race. So we should have a reasonable gap. We'll be able to see if Martin's actually got an undercut on us coming out of the pit. So we'll be able to see that, see if he has. And we've got a big gap behind us, so there's no one close to us at the moment, and I was really happy with myself this race. I felt qualifying, I definitely just made the mistake of just leaving them rich, because if I didn't, I think I could have started on the front row. But I just felt I executed the race good, and it feels good to really, for the first time this season, really put everything together and be back to how I actually felt, how I used to drive in previous seasons, because I hadn't really felt that through really not really playing the game massively, only really playing it for practice on probably on the day, or maybe just a little bit on the day before, because I am quite busy at work. I've got a full-time job, there's other stuff I do as well, so to be honest, in the week I don't really have the time or really wanting to practice throughout the week. I feel, as I said before, that sometimes you can actually over practice, and so mainly I just leave it to Sunday because I just feel a lot more fresh and I actually enjoy the track a lot more, which usually makes me drive fast as well. So you can see lap by lap what the gap is. Just being conservative, really just being consistent. You can see in the laps here, tyres are slowly starting to go off now, but still doing quite good pace. G behind, he's around 5 or 6 seconds behind. He's actually 6 seconds, so we've actually gained time in this last stint as well, around a second or so. And Martin's in third, which Broziak, I believe, he actually went out on wet or something, so that wasn't a good decision. But you could see we're just playing it safe, just being consistent, just focusing on the breaking points and apexes, because at this point, with the gap you have, you really don't want to be trying to throw it away or trying to extend your lead really as much as possible. You really just want to just keep off the curbs and just do the best you can. So you can see coming on to the last lap now, going rich again. But yeah, it just felt nice to finally this season to feel like I've driven a race where I felt good, that I was actually satisfied how I drove, because every race this season has always been something. There's been many good parts, but there's been parts, especially in qualifying and Bahrain. The qualifying there wasn't great, which has really hindered me, but in the race it was good. I drove really well. China, I felt I drove well, but the strategy really underestimated it really. And for Australia, I thought I was just plain unlucky, and Malaysia, I was happy with my second place there. So being consistent throughout the season, as I said, that is the key, to be consistent throughout the season. You do not need to win every race, even though that would help, but you do not need to win every race, and usually no one does win every single race, as you'll be able to see here. So you're not going to have a perfect weekend every weekend, so it's really key to just, even if you're driving badly, you feel like you're not on top of your game, to really still get those results. And that's what I felt I've done this season so far. But this race, I felt I've definitely made a step up in my driving, and really just gone back to the old Limitless and how I used to drive in that Season 8 and Season 9 as well. So it's been good. It feels really good to be back in this position. So coming across the line, or coming across the last corner now, we're very, very happy with this. So it's a good handful of points. We closed the gap by 10 points in Martin, I believe. So that is a good result. So you can see the results here. Quite a comfortable win in the end. As I said, I felt I had the pace throughout the whole race to do it, despite the mistake. So it feels good, and hopefully you'll be able to see the championship table here. So it'll be, I believe it'll be at 31 points or something now, or something like that. I'm not sure. It might actually be 21 points, I believe, between us. So for our whole season, we've still got a lot of races left to go. A lot can happen. As I know, last season I won the first 4 races, and yeah, let's not get on into the rest of the season, especially the later half of the season, due to disconnections. So as always, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for supporting my videos recently. It's been really, really good. Almost coming up to 1 million views on the channel as well now, which is a pretty unreal number for me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and catch you next time. Cheers.